This is Goku Sun DBZ and welcome back for a new top 10 list. I decided to try something a little different from per norm. With that said, today I am looking at, in my perspective anyways, 10 older or other platform Nintendo games or other different platforms the game originally was on, I would like to see actually be ported to the Switch, because I feel it could be fun, and most of these games also should not have any problem running on the Switch hardware, as some of them are more mobile originally were handheld games, or on older platforms. But these are 10 specific games I would love to see actually on the Switch. First, we have 4 honorable mentions. First up, Space Channel number 5, originally on the Sega Dreamcast. Space Channel number 5 is a blast to play. It's a very unique and interesting, to say the least, rhythm sort of game. If you play games like Parappa the Rapper, then you basically know how this game would play. But for the most part, I feel like it's a game that could actually, I think, work on the Switch in all honesty. And it would help broaden and introduce more people to the game. Also, other games that I think I would like to see ported. Next originally was released for the 360 originally, and that is Dead Rising 2. Though it did get ports on other consoles, I'd actually like to see Dead Rising 2 honestly on the Nintendo Switch. The other two, um, next, Half-Life 2. I would love to see Half-Life 2. I mean, we did, after all, get Portal 1 and 2 on the Switch with the companion. So I personally would love to see actually Half-Life 2 made available on the Switch. I feel that would be awesome. Honestly, have basically Half-Life 2 on the go. Pretty cool if you ask me. Also, last honorable mention originally remains this day exclusively only on the GameCube. It's a game I actually would love to see on the Switch. I feel it shouldn't have any issue running on it, but also be nice to see newer generation of Nintendo fans be introduced to, I think, one of the most underrated games of the 2000s. And that is a little game called Geist. Geist is one of my personal favorite horror style games on the GameCube. I think I can honestly say that I like the game a lot more than many people out there. And it is very unique and different from most other shooting type of games, I guess you could say. Geist has its own very unique spin on things, and I actually appreciate the originality. Coming at number 10, I would like to see get a port or remaster or whatever on the Switch. A game which was on the Wii U. I would like to see the double pack both together, and that is the NES Remix 1 and 2 together, which you can get on the Wii U. But I would love to see NES Remix get re released on the Switch. Heck, maybe do some new NES remixes. But for me, that's number 5 of ones I'd like to see on the Switch. Number 9 was released on the Nintendo DS and is a game I wish they would bring back available on the eShop at the minimal, at least a digital release, but personally I would love to see, and that is Golden Sun Dark Dawn for the Nintendo DS. One of the best RPGs on the DS, in my opinion, anyways. And I would love to see it brought to the Switch because the game is not going to have any problem running on the Switch as it was a DS game. Get a little bit of a remaster, and besides, while at it, please make a new Golden Sun game already, Nintendo. Coming in at 8, originally released on the GameCube, that is Rogue Squadron. And yeah, Rogue Leader 2. But Rogue Squadron, arguably the best Star Wars game on the GameCube, and probably in I would say the top 5 best Star Wars games of all time, personal perspective. But yeah, I would love to see Star Wars Rogue Squadron actually get a re release on the. I mean, we've already seen a lot of other Star Wars games get re released on the Switch, so why not Rogue Squadron? Get more people play that great classic. Next, coming at number 7, I'm sure some people would much like to see higher, but I'm looking overall many genres. And this is a game I would love to see get heck a re-release on any modern platform, but I feel also it would run just fine on the Switch. For me, coming at number 7 is Marvel vs. Capcom 2, MVC 2. I would love to see it on the Switch. That'd be awesome. I mean, can you imagine how probably well that would freaking sell if it was made available, even digital only? Trust me, a lot of people would be purchasing Day 1 Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the Switch, given how big the Switch's install base is, and there are quite a few fighting game fans that play the Switch, so I feel it would be great, and that would be pretty easy money in my opinion. Coming at number 6 is another GameCube game that I would love to see. Notice a trend here. Um, I would like to see get a re-release, a remaster, some, and that is the original Chibi Robo. I would love to see get a port to a modern console like Switch. I mean, it was a GameCube game, so you know it's gonna run just fine. Make some adjustments and stuff, and come on. Like, the last Chibi Robo game we got was Ziplash on the 3DS, and that was several years ago, to say the least. Not the greatest, but I don't hate the game as much as other people. But yeah, given the price of regular Chibi Robo, it would definitely help to re release it on a modern platform on the Switch. And maybe grow the actual fan base of Chibi Robo. Coming at number 5, originally released on the Dreamcast, well, and Xbox, the sort of sequel or reimagining, it did get like a digital release, weirdly enough, on mobile and also on Vita, strangely enough, but nothing else, which is kind of weird. But at number 5 is a tie between two games of the same series I would like to see on modern platform. I think the Switch will work just fine. And that is a combination of Jet Run Radio, aka Jet Set Radio, and Jet Set Radio Future. Those are games I would love to see on the Switch, and they are definite Sega classics, in my opinion. Some of probably their best exclusives. Also, at number 4 is arguably, in my opinion, one of, if not definitely in the top 5 best Pokemon games of all time, and I would love to see it get a re release, a remaster or some. Coming at number 4 is Pokemon Colosseum. I would love to see that get a remaster. In all honesty, like, that game deserves way more love than it gets. Yeah, I know there's a decent difficulty curve in Colosseum versus other Pokemon games, but for me, the two key Pokemon games we got on the GameCube are arguably some of the best games in the franchise. I mean, honestly, like, both of those games are in my top 5 favorite Pokemon games of all time. And they're getting a little too pricey to collect for nowadays. So, unless you want to play, excuse me, unless you want to play these games specifically on modern platforms and be legit regular rather than the, I guess you could say, what? The bad word, in my opinion, emulation. Not the biggest fan of emulating games unless it is through official channels from Nintendo themselves. Otherwise, I'm not really interested. Then, coming at number 3 is a series of two games that were released on the PS2 and I believe to this day remain PS2 exclusive. And it is some of the best RPGs, in my opinion, hands down. And I would love to see both of them re released, and I think they could run just fine on the Switch. originally released on the PS2, and that is the Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2. I would love to see both of them as a double pack, get a re release. I mean, given their PS2 games, they shouldn't have any issue running on Switch hardware. With that said, coming in at number 2, arguably one of the best fighting games on handheld of all time, and I would love to see it get a re release on the Switch with maybe a little upscale resolution or something, or even just a good solid overall re-release of the original game, as it ran surprisingly well on the 3DS. Coming at number 2, for me anyways, is Dead or Alive Dimensions. Arguably my favorite fighting game on the 3DS, bar none. And coming in at number 1, originally released and remains this day an exclusive. And I'm gonna grab it quick. For me, the biggest game I would love to see get a re-release on the modern platform on the Switch is arguably the greatest horror game, in my opinion, on the GameCube. For me, coming at number 1, I would love to see get a re-release, Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem, as it has a great thing with the whole like sanity meter and everything, making you think the TV's turning off, changing a channel, doing all so when in fact it's actually part of the actual game itself. It was really revolutionary in that aspect in many other areas compared to many other horror games of the time period. But with that said, that is for me the number 1 game I would love to see the most get a re-release slash remaster from Eternal Darkness, as it remains in my top 10 favorite horror games of all time. And arguably also one of my top 10 favorite GameCube games of all time. But with that said, I'll see you next time, and hopefully enjoyed also the music in the background from the Ocarina of Time. With that said, see you again soon, and stay safe out there.